Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he is working, that's his terminology, working with the United States on its new plan to end the war with Russia, the one that Russia started, we should underscore. Zelenskyy met, you can see him there, U.S. Secretary of Army Daniel Driscoll today. This comes after a White House official confirmed to CBS that the president has signed off on a 28-point plan designed to end the war. No indication that Ukraine backs all 28 or even half or even a percentage of those 28 points in currently written. Former Ambassador to Ukraine, William Taylor, joins me now. Ambassador Taylor, it is reported, and I'd like your perspective on this, that much of this 28-point plan drafted by the United States with consultation with Russia and not that much consultation with the Ukrainians. Is that true?
That's what we hear, Major. That's exactly what we hear. We have seen documents. We've seen versions of this 28-point plan. I'm not sure it's the final or it's even the one that's been presented to President Zelenskyy. But it's very lopsided. It is very pro-Russia. It's as if the Russians did ask for a lot and got a lot of what they wanted.
And is that a negotiating tactic? President Trump likes to think of himself as the art of the deal maker. You give Russia what it wants up front. Ukraine pushes back, and maybe you get something in between?
It could well be. It could well be.
And what's most lopsided about it from your perspective?
Lopsided is it removes the ability of the Ukrainians to defend themselves.
A huge issue.
Huge issue.
Probably non-negotiable in the end. They've got to be able to defend themselves.
They have to be able to defend themselves. There is some talk of a security guarantee, but the real security guarantee is eventually NATO, which is ruled out in this. Limits on the size of the Ukrainian army, limits on the equipment that they can get from other nations to support them, to allow them to defend themselves against the Russians. It takes their ability to defend themselves against the Russians away. So so you're talking about negotiations. Presumably the Secretary of Army is there presenting this and is going to hear from President Zelenskyy sooner or later. I mean, President Zelenskyy gets this document. He may have had some indication of what's in it before. He will give some reaction. Like on the minerals deal, Major, that you talked about before, where the Secretary of Treasury came in, put a document on the table and said, I need you to sign this in an hour. And President Zelenskyy said, no, it's not the way we do this. We'll look at it. We'll get our lawyers to look at it. We'll get our experts to look at it, and we'll make you a counteroffer. I expect some kind of a counterproposal to be made.
There has to be a counterproposal, and then we'll find out just how serious this 28 points actually are. What about territorial concessions?
The document, again, maybe not final, but the document asks, demands, requires the Ukrainians to pull out of territory that they control, that the Russians have been trying to get. Russians are trying to grab that territory for more than 2 years. And the Ukrainians have been defending against the Russians.
At high cost.
At very high cost. In particular, high cost for the Russians, let's be clear.
Both
Russian
sides.
soldiers. But a lot of Ukrainians have also died defending that territory, and this document says, give it up.
You have talked on this program many times, Ambassador Taylor, about the importance of the United States and the European nations to be cohesive on this. How do you think Europe, NATO, EU is looking at this document, even if it's informal?
I expect the European leaders who've got some relationship with President Trump to get on the phone. And they're going to make it very clear that documents need to be changed. This document needs to be negotiated. They want a role, but they also want to support Zelenskyy. They want him to be able to defend himself because he's defending them. He's defending the Europeans. So the Europeans, I think, have a lot at stake. They've indicated this is not a great document. They've indicated that this is close to capitulation, to surrender on the part of the Ukrainians. They're not in favor of that.
So one thing that almost all sides agree on, it's President Trump singularly who can end this war. Europeans say that. President Zelenskyy says that. If that's true, and this is the opening gambit, is that discouraging to the Ukrainians?
President Trump has leverage over Putin that he could use right now.
He could tell the House to pass the sanctions bill, send it over to the Senate, and roll.
Absolutely. He could do that, and he could put sanctions on right now without that bill. But that would give him a lot of political cover to do exactly what you just said. But he's got that kind of leverage. He's also got leverage to give the Ukrainians the military capability to defend themselves. And if he uses those two levers, he can push Putin to come to a much better deal than what's in this document.
He has yet to be willing to do that, though.
He has put some sanctions on the two largest Russian oil companies. It did that. And that's having an effect. That's having an effect of reducing the volume of money, of rubles, that comes into the Russian treasury that allows them to pursue this war. So that's having an effect. He could do more of that.
He could do more. William Taylor, former ambassador to Ukraine. As always, sir, thank you so very much.
Thank you, President.